So I was watching the X Zone TV channel last night when I was abducted by aliens, and they kept repeating to me over and over again, simultv.com, simultv.com.
What's simultv.com?
That's what I asked them. They had it written on the side of their UFO.
How do you spell that?
UFO.
No, I mean simultv.com.
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 Right. simultv.com.
Interesting that you were abducted by aliens in a simultv.com UFO last night.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I remember now last night I was awakened from a deep sleep. My great-grandmother was standing there. She said she'd come from the hereafter to tell me about simultv.com. She even spelled it out for me.
simultv.com, sonny boy.
simultv.com.
simultv.com, sonny boy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Guys, you'll never guess what my psychic guru just told me.
simultv.com.
Exactly. Are you guys psychic too?
Of course.
We all know about simultv.com. simultv.com.
Roswell in the 21st century is a detailed re-examination of the Roswell UFO crash case. I have studied the evidence for more than 30 years, and I now put that evidence under a microscope in a cold case examination of the facts. These facts might not please everyone. They are based on my comprehensive investigation that took years to complete, but they do lead to the conclusion that whatever fell was not built on Earth. The Best of Project Blue Book is based on the 22-year-long investigation conducted by the Air Force. But the book goes far beyond that, bringing in evidence that was uncovered long after Project Blue Book was ordered terminated. Using facts that were unavailable to the Air Force investigators, I was able to prove that the Air Force manipulated the data and drew unrealistic conclusions about the UFO sightings reported to them. My different perspective shows there was more to Project Blue Book than even the Air Force knew. Both books are available at Amazon.com.
Join Patty Conklin and Healing Within Radio each week. More than entertainment, Healing Within offers educational, useful tools for everyday life. Listen for help overcoming fear, anxiety, and depression. Patty knows about eliminating cancer, MS, dementia, Parkinson's, and a host of illnesses that we face every day. Life can be good. Life is good. All you need are simple tools to start changing your life. Start right now by visiting pattyconklin.com, PATTICONKLIN. No matter where you are in the world, you can work with Patty through Skype, phone, or in person, visiting one of her retreats in Georgia. Visit pattyconklin.com today or call our offices at 404-474-0086. That's pattyconklin.com or call 404-474-0086.
Welcome to the Imagine More Success radio show, which is the all about you show with successful entrepreneurs and business experts who are sharing their stories and their powerful takeaways while providing you with the tips, tools, tactics, and a free weekly gift to help you thrive. Your hosts for the Imagine More Success radio show are the best-selling authors, Cindy Hendricks, who's a certified business consultant, and Thomas Hydes, a certified world-class public speaking coach. Check out the Imagine More Success radio show at imaginemoresuccess.net because now is the time for you to realize your dreams and to imagine more success. Hey, thank you for joining us today. We're really happy to have you with us. We've got a really fun episode planned for you today. You're going to want to stick around for the entire thing because it's going to be filled with some really interesting tidbits about one of the most important topics for absolutely everyone, which is love. We have one of my favorite guests is going to be on today. When people hear about the topic of love, very often they feel like they're kind of in one of two camps. So they kind of roll their eyes, or they're really excited to hear about it. It really depends, maybe where they are in their life at the moment.
So Thomas, are you an eye roller?
No, I'm not. I'm always excited to learn more about love.
Well, I'll just bet you that our audience has lots of different faces when we talk about love, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure there's going to be some really interesting responses to what we're going to be hearing about today. This is a theme that we like to address quite often. We do like to have, pretty much at least quarterly have a show about love in one way or another, whether it's about creating relationships between in between people who are couples or creating a relationship with someone else that's important to you or family members. So today we've got a very special guest coming on to the show. We have Maria Romano. She is the founder of True Love Knots, the Las Vegas-based company. She has designed this incredible program to help those who are looking for love, especially people who are later in life. She is both a dating mentor as well as a minister of love. She's actually performed over 3,000 wedding ceremonies in Las Vegas, and she's had the opportunity to witness, obviously, thousands of couples come together and join an amazing union together. She knows how difficult it can be for someone to go down the pathway of finding love, maybe for the second time in their life, especially as they get a little deeper into the years. She was married to the love of her life for over 33 years, and after her husband passed away, she went from being a +1 to a just one. So the name of her upcoming book, as well as one of the programs that she offers, is Just One to +1. The idea of moving from being single to being into a truly happy and rewarding relationship. So we're so happy to have Maria with us today. Maria, welcome to the show.
Hi, you two. How you doing?
Well, we're so excited to have you on the show today because who doesn't want to learn more about love?
Thank you. You know, it's interesting. I was just thinking, Cindy and Thomas, I was on the show in August and last year, and it was my first podcast.
Oh my gosh.
I've done many since
There's
then.
been a lot since then. I didn't realize that was your first show.
It was my first show. So I debuted on Imagine More Success.
We're really happy to have you back.
And I'm just sure that our listeners love everything you have to share because, like I said, we all need to know all the secrets of love, whether it's a dating thing, a marriage thing, because as you probably know, those are two way different kinds of love.
Well, you know, it's interesting you say that because it's so true, Cindy, because in the dating world, yes, you're out there and you're looking and you're hoping you find somebody and that's the beginning. You find someone and it's new, right? And the honeymoon phase. Yeah. But then when you've been in a relationship, and I know I was married 33 years, you've been married for a while. And what happens is you have to kind of reignite the passion in the relationship. And it's almost, you know, getting to know each other again or taking the time to know each other. And I also talk about that as well. So they are two different types of love when you think about it.
Well, you know what, Maria? I am one of those really, really lucky people that I still have the same relationship with my husband to this day as when we were dating, because anytime we go to a dinner party or we're out with friends, we look at each other when we leave and one of us or the other one of us will say, "I'm so glad I'm with you."
That's the way it should be. Absolutely.
Exactly. Well, I'm sure that our listeners today are going to get some great tips from you on how they can do the same thing.
So, Maria, there's one thing. I know that you specialize primarily in helping people that are, say, 40 plus and finding love again in their life, or maybe even for the first time. But for those people who, and actually, I think your messages are actually universal. They really apply to anyone of any age. But as someone is 40 and older, as they are embarking on that idea of finding someone else again, not for the people who don't want to, but for the people who are maybe on the fence or are convinced that they want to find love again, why is it really important for them to find a happy, loving relationship?
You know, Thomas, that's a good question. Interesting, because what happens is they have been out of the dating world or they haven't found somebody. And I think there's almost a pushback, like a bit of a social anxiety sets in. People procrastinate. So they're sort of afraid to make the first move. And the reason they're afraid is because they're afraid of failure. And they think about rejection. And sometimes the only gauge you have is when you were younger. So maybe you asked somebody to go to the prom and they said no, you know, or you wanted somebody to ask you to the prom and they didn't ask you. So what happens that adolescence comes back, those memories, and there are stumbling blocks and obstacles. So those are the things that when you, even in 40s, 50s, and 60s, heck, this happens to people all the time. So they need to get past that social anxiety and that stumbling block and recognize they have a lot to offer. And as they get a little older, gosh, you know a hell of a lot more about life in your 40s than you did in your 20s, right?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you feel that most of the clients that come to you, that they have a similar set of experiences when it comes to that idea of the social anxiety?
Well, I find there's a couple of different spectrums. I've encountered people that, yes, or they feel that they're not too sure. They have a fear of rejection. So that's why they're hesitant to maybe put themselves, for example, if you're going to go back in the dating world, I always tell clients you need to use different platforms of dating. You have online dating and you have offline dating, and you need to use both because both of them are important because you maximize yourself, and that's what you want to do. So most people think about online dating first, and they're concerned because they'll say, well, I reached out to somebody and they didn't get back to me. And actually the percentage is for every 10 people you reach out to, maybe 10% get back to you, which is really one person. So you shouldn't allow the no response or getting crickets from stopping you from online. And then offline, you never know. I mean, offline is a whole different world, and it takes a lot more energy and effort to put yourself out there to go out and meet people.
Well, you know what, Maria? Mm-hmm. I think that people need to know that 10% seems like a really low number. Mm-hmm. But if you think about it, in marketing, in your business, you only get 3%, and that's a good number.
Well, and look at online, there's hundreds in your, wherever, depending upon your parameters. So if you put yourself on a couple of different dating apps, there could be several thousand people in the range that you're looking for. So that gives you a great pool. Whereas, right, when you go out and you go to a networking event, the pool is narrowed. Yes, you get to see that person, that's true, but you don't know if that person's single. Hopefully on the online dating, you've read a profile, so you have a little better gauge about who you're going to interact with, even if it's online.
Very true. Do you find that for most people that are 40 plus, do you find that they've already begun the process of dating online and maybe they've been kind of stymied, or do you feel like a lot of people are just kind of getting into the idea of online dating?
Well, that's, Thomas, that's both of them are equally important because I find that I have come across both. I don't know the percentage, but I can tell you some people are very stymied and they're still, again, they're afraid to take the first step. At the last seminar I was on, 50% were online and 50% were offline. And then those that are online, they're wondering what's happening there. And sometimes what happens is your profile becomes stagnant, it gets rusty, and you need to sort of update it. So if you're not getting anybody that's interested in you, you need to look at your profile, look at your pictures, see what you're saying, because that says a lot about you.
Okay, so I can imagine that that's an area where you spend quite a bit of time kind of assisting people and helping them dial in their profile for online dating, for those people that are doing that.
Well, it's important that you, when you do write your online profile, first of all, it should be a book, should be maybe 3 or 4 paragraphs. Oh boy, there's people out there that write a book. Okay, you two are authors, but you know what? You're not going to put the whole thing in your profile. But it's interesting. And yet again, some people don't necessarily want their profile professionally written because they don't want it to look too polished. So the medium they come to is, first of all, think about your resume, right? Your own resume when you're going out into the world to find a position. So you're going to highlight yourself. So you're going to highlight things about you. Like I'm the type of person, I'm spontaneous and I love getting together with family and I like hiking. So start off with the positives. That's what I tell them. And then talk about, the things you like to do, what you hope to do. Let's say you're looking to travel more in your life, just maybe explore more. Maybe you want to start a garden, whatever it is.
Okay, Mary, we're going to hold that thought just for a moment because when we come back, we're going to talk more about that, about the idea of turning your online profile for online dating into a bit of a resume for you that really makes you shine and stick out there in that world of so many different people. So stick around. When we come back in just a couple of minutes, we'll be back with Maria Romano from True Love Knots on the Imagine More Success radio show.
Are you looking for psychic services that empower as well as provide accurate information? Jenny is a third-generation psychic with extensive esoteric training. A practicing professional intuitive for over 30 years, her accuracy is astounding. While most psychics can read what will happen to you if you don't change directions, Jenny understands the future is subjective. While there is a river of time we all traverse, that river has many waves, eddies, currents, and tributaries from which to choose. With Jenny as your guide, you can explore the many possible outcomes in the river of time and navigate your course to the one of your liking. Take control of your future. Book your life-changing session with Jenny today at www.gen-e.net. That's www.gen-e.net.
Mission Evolution is dedicated to the well-being of the planet and animals, as well as the evolution of humankind. One major factor threatening all three is increasing toxicity. Heavy metals and other environmental toxins are poisoning our bodies, deteriorating our brains, blocking our spiritual connection, and shortening our lives. Yet these poisons are extremely difficult to remove. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka, and I recently became aware of a product created from the marriage of nature and nanotechnology called Vitality. It's formulated from zoolite, whose crystalline structure binds toxins, gently carrying them out of the body. The light is only as clear as the window through which it shines. Clear your body, shine your light into the world. Visit vitalityhappens.com for a 20% discount. Enter code PATHHOME.
In the mid-1990s, I was approached by a young woman who believed she'd been abducted by alien creatures. In conversations, I began a journey that took me not into the world of interstellar travel, but back through time into past lives. Under hypnotic regression administered by a professional rather than describing abduction, Jenny, as she is called, begins to tell a tale of horror in 19th century London. Her unbelievable past life seems to connect with Jack the Ripper and other monsters of the past. Throughout the session, Jenny provides a rich detail of her past lives that links some of the most horrific killers in history to one another. Using the resources of a university library in the pre-internet's day, I was able to verify some of Jenny's claims. She has knowledge that wasn't readily available to a suburban housewife. Does this prove the reality of her tales? Conversations attempts to answer that and other provocative questions. Conversations is available at Amazon.com.
Welcome back to the Imagine More Success radio show. We are here with Maria Romano from True Love Knots. We've been talking a little bit about dating, especially for someone who is 40 plus. Maria has a really powerful message as well as a really great set of principles that she utilizes to help people find the perfect plus one for themselves. In addition to being a dating mentor and coach, as well as a minister of love in Las Vegas, Maria is a highly sought after professional speaker and an ordained minister, and she's been spending so much of her life energy in helping other people find happiness and create a long-lasting relationship in their life. Maria, in our previous segment, you were talking about how important it is to consider your online profile that you're setting up for online dating as if it is a resume, and that is what helps someone to find really the authentic you and for you to stand out in a very crowded, let's call it marketplace.
Yes.
And I really thought that was fascinating, Maria, because I never really thought about an online profile to be like a resume. But would you put an objective on there? Because some people are looking just for casual dating and some are looking for marriage and probably a lot of in between.
Yes, that's true. When we were talking, I was talking about highlighting the type of person you are, what you like to do. And then really you need to then spell out what you're looking for. And that is so true, Cindy, because if you want a long-term relationship, fine. If you're looking for marriage, fine. If you're just looking for a buddy, that's okay too. But you really need to spell that out because you don't want to mislead anybody. And that's why I tell clients, if they haven't had any success and they've had their profile out there, take a look at it, see what you're saying, what you're doing. And you might have started off thinking, I don't want to get married again. But you know what? Maybe as you've evolved, and even though you hadn't met somebody, you say to yourself, okay, I think I would like to find somebody to get married again as well. So that's why you need to go back and revisit what you're saying. And always never put in your profile anything that's negative. And unfortunately, people do put that in their profile. They'll talk about what they don't want. I had a client that came to me and she had written, I don't want anybody that gambles, that drinks, that does drugs, and I don't want anybody that's a political supporter of blah, blah, blah. So guess what she got? She got what she didn't want, right?
Oh my gosh.
See, I don't want her.
Yeah.
And saw a list of qualifications that applied to them.
Well, and you have to remember that you wouldn't put that in your resume. Would you put in your resume, I don't want to work for somebody that, is going to have me work on the weekend? Actually,
I did put something in mine that said I was only relocatable to the Sun Belt, not the Snow Belt.
You don't work in Antarctica? Come on. Cindy, don't be ridiculous.
Hey, I lived in Antarctica in the U.S., man.
That I have to give a pass on. You're right. There's nothing wrong with that. So, and that's the key thing is I try to get them to understand, because a lot of clients that I do deal with are people that have been in the professional world. So what I like to do is give them that same analogy so they understand that. For those now, the other side you asked me about, Thomas, is the type that are stymied. And this is what I tell them too. If you're going out into the marketplace and you wanted to promote yourself and you wanted a new position, you'd put your resume out online. You wouldn't send it to one company, you'd put it out with a very large recruiting website. The same thing when you decide to get out there with dating. That's why I tell clients they maximize themselves by using the online dating. But what happens is some people feel, and that's why they get stymied, is they take a step back and they're stuck. And they almost feel like it's a fraud factor to them. And the reason for that is because, again, they get behind that fraud factor, you get that social anxiety, you get that procrastination, and you're concerned about not succeeding. And that's not necessarily the case. It's what you put into it is what you get, as you well know. And I tell them that.
Now, Maria, do you help people navigate through all that craziness?
That's what I love doing. Because you know what, and sometimes it's just a simple tweak, like maybe changing your pictures, although that's hard. I have to tell you, I've had some women and men that their pictures were great 10 years ago, but you cannot use them. You really, yes. Or some people feel, well, I look a little heavier when I'm in pictures, but you know what? You can take you can have flattering photos done, whether you have somebody do them professionally or you have somebody that can, take them for you if you don't want to spend the money, that really just can really make you look flattering. And I'm not talking photoshopping, just the right lighting, just to make sure the lighting bounces on your face, your smile. I always tell clients, there's nothing healthier looking than somebody that's smiling and laughing. And that's what people will gravitate towards.
Yes. Now, I have a new tagline for you, Maria.
Okay.
Ghostwriter for love.
I love it. Well, you know what? Wait, we were talking about you the other day. Because I am also looking to also bring in another component, which you had recommended in August, and I want to bring it in, is mock dating. And there are a lot of people that, again, they might have been in the dating world and they don't understand why they haven't been successful. And I think if we have mock dating, you'd be surprised how some people might not realize what they're saying or how they're presenting.
I'd love to help you write up the critique.
Okay, all right, you got it. You've got it.
And Maria, that really brings us to something that I've heard you say a few times. You have a quote about preparation, and I'd like for you to tell us a little bit about that.
You mean the Roman philosopher Seneca said, opportunity meets preparation. Maria says preparation meets opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, if that's not a great formula for success.
Yes, right. You want to be ready, not get ready. You want to be ready when you meet Mr. or Mrs. Right. You can meet them anywhere.
I really, that always sticks with me every time that I hear you say that, because I think a lot of people do try to put the cart before the horse. I think it's really interesting to most people that they want to fix their profile online. They want to make sure they have the perfect pictures and that everything on that does sound like what you're talking about, where it sounds like an incredible resume and it really establishes who they are and who they're looking for. When really the big stumbling block for someone who's dating quite often is they're not really prepared to start dating.
Well, yes, that's true, Thomas. And people aren't prepared. And that's really what I like to dive into when I take on a new client. Because, well, first of all, this is what I always tell a client. You really need to be ready. And you both know, as being coaches yourself, you need to have people that are going to be coachable. And that's the first thing. So I tell people you need to open up your ears. Even if you're going to hear it maybe a different way, but you need to open up your ears and your mind. And you really need to look at what's happened to you in the past. What type of relationships have you had? And I like to teach them that they need to start getting ready. If they're going to get out there and get ready in the dating world, I tell them they need to really work on what they think they want in a partner, because what you wanted in a partner 20 years ago is a lot different because of your life experiences now. And also to look at their past relationships, especially if somebody keeps attracting that same type of individual. So if you are a woman that you keep attracting somebody that needs to be fixed, right? That has an addiction problem, even a man out there, and you don't understand why. So I give you some steps to really look at that and dive deep and start, pulling back those layers and looking at, what are you doing and why do you keep, attracting that same individual? And sometimes when you start looking at your past relationships, and even it goes into your childhood, well, then the light bulb moment will come on for some of these people, and they'll recognize what they've been doing, and then they alter it. And if they do have a lot of issues where they still carry a lot of emotions and they harbor a lot of feelings that really are not negative feelings about their past or their past relationships, then I tell them you need to go to a therapist, and then you can work with me, which is okay. Therapy's good.
We need to introduce you to our friend Dr. Gary. You two could probably work together.
Absolutely. And you actually have a process, Maria, that you utilize to help people kind of let go of some of the, I'd say, trauma or difficulties from their past relationships that have a tendency to keep influencing their new relationships negatively. What's the name of that process?
Yes, so I call it the DD process, the dysfunctional detoxing.
Yeah, I love that.
It's true, and that is proprietary. That's something that I did, I created with my course, and also it's in the book. And that dysfunctional detoxing, just in a thumbnail sketch, just gives people outline it. I tell them to take a piece of paper and just put a line down the center and a line across the horizontal, vertical, and just, take a look at when you were in a relationship, what you loved about your partner, and then, what attracted you to them, and then look at what happened in the relationship where sometimes you loathe your partner. So sometimes what you like, you wind up loathing. That happens. And then I tell them to take a step back and to think about what hand they had, in the destruction of a relationship, because it's always two people. I mean, both of you know that. And anything we do in life, whether it's a partnership, professionally or personally, sometimes we have a hand in that, dismantling it. And then the fourth thing I tell them to do is really take a step back and say to yourself, okay, what could I have done differently? And
That's
hopefully
beautiful.
there's a lesson. Yeah, it's true. That's a tough thing to do. That's really tough when you think about it. It's
words of wisdom from the love coach.
Yeah, when we come back in just a moment, we're going to hear more from Maria Romano. We're going to continue the discussion today about dating over 40 when we come back on the Imagine More Success radio show. How would your life change if you could develop the business and personal skills that you need in order to make more money? Do you want to learn how to achieve your big life goals faster? Then go to findhiddenmoney.com and get the Goal for It online course. The course teaches you how you can set and achieve your biggest goals while completely overcoming the roadblocks to your goals so that you can realize your dreams and imagine more success. Go to findhiddenmoney.com.
If you are looking for a safe, zero-calorie natural option to the harmful artificial sweeteners on the market today, Just Like Sugar is what you're looking for. Just Like Sugar is a wonderful natural alternative for those health-conscious people who choose a calorie-restricted diet with a great, pure, sweet flavor that tastes just like sugar. Just Like Sugar is a great natural option for people suffering from diabetes and may be useful in restricted diet programs where standard sugars are not allowed and does not cause a laxative effect of some other sweeteners. Just Like Sugar comprises a perfect blend of chicory root fiber, natural calcium, natural vitamin C, and Just Like Sugar's sweetness comes from the natural flavors from the peel of the orange. Just Like Sugar is a natural alternative to harmful artificial sweeteners and will change the way that you believe all natural sweetener products taste. Just Like Sugar is available at your local Whole Foods markets, Wild Oats markets, Henry's, Sun Harvest, and many other fine natural food stores in the U.S., Canada, and worldwide. Audience. If you have seen a UFO, had a close encounter, seen a ghost, Bigfoot, lake monster, or a story that you would like to share or have investigated, contact me, Rob McConnell, by sending me your email to xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, or you can call toll-free 1-800-610-7035, extension 143, and on Skype, Xzone Radio TV. For more information on the Xzone Radio TV show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, visit www.xzoneradiotv.com or www.xzonetvchannel.com or simultv.com and xzbn.net. Until next we meet here in the Xzone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, always remember, Xzone Nation, keep your eyes to the sky and your heart in the light.
Memorable dynamic presentations are a not-so-secret weapon in the business world. Do you have a powerful message that must be shared, but you haven't found a way to deliver that message? Do you want to be known as a top public speaker who gets amazing results? Are you ready to create and deliver your powerful message? Thomas Hides can help you create and deliver your speech to get the results you desire. Visit iconquality.com.
Welcome back to the Imagine More Success radio show with Cindy and Thomas. We're so glad you could continue to join us today. If you're just tuning in, we just want to let you know where we are. We've been having a conversation today with Maria Romano, who is a dating mentor and coach and a minister of love from Las Vegas. She has actually performed over 3,000 weddings, and she helps you to go from a just one to a plus one. So this is where you're going to be learning how you can find a really loving, happy, supportive relationship for you. Maria, in our previous segment, we were talking about your concept called dysfunctional detoxing, which is a process that you've developed to help people let go of some of the old ways of thinking and old patterns that had a tendency to destroy previous relationships and transform them into some really powerful new habits that help to create a really happy, loving, and supportive relationship. Do you find that there's kind of a huge light bulb moment and a big shift for people once they've gone through the dysfunctional detoxing?
Well, you talk about that light bulb moment. Sometimes the light is delayed. What happens? What happens is they have to think about it, and think about anything in your own life that's something that you could be challenging or letting go of, and we're resistant. We don't want. And the same thing happens sometimes. We like to hold on to emotions because you know what? It's the only thing we know how to do, and to let it go is like that. That security blanket. And when you do, you realize you don't need the security blanket and you have freedom. So what'll happen is they'll think about it, they'll come back and go, oh my God, that just made all the difference in the world. I'm glad you said that to me. I got to thinking, and that's great when somebody recognizes and they have a breakthrough. And then if they can't have a breakthrough again, that's when they need to think about maybe going for just a little bit of therapy and then get back in the dating world. Because listen, we all have dysfunction in our life. Nobody is perfect. Nobody is like the Leave It to Beaver, right? When you watch that program, you're a little too young, Thomas, but but the point is,
I used to watch that.
Yes, watch the reruns, right? Ozzie and Harriet. Listen, life is great if we were all like that. But the point is when you're getting, especially when you later in life, we don't want to be running around dating. We don't want to be a serial dater. You want to get on and off an app, or you get out into the world and you start meeting people and decide, let's say you just want to meet people offline instead of online. And you want to meet somebody and you want to narrow it down. And that's what happens too, is people think, oh, there's such a pool of people out there, and this person, I don't like blue eyes, so that's the reason I'm going to just wait until I found somebody with brown eyes. So you have different ends of the spectrum that occur as well.
You know, and that's really important, I think, to really figure out what your objective is and to find out really more about yourself prior to even starting the dating process, right? Because sometimes people have been in a relationship for a very long time in their life that's kind of become a defining relationship for their own identity. Now they find themselves outside of that relationship, whether they're divorced or they're widowed or there's a separation, and now sometimes they have to kind of rediscover themselves. I know you have a process for that as well. Kind of walk us through, what it is you do for your clients.
Well, yes, and I talk about in the beginning when I talk to them about their past relationships, and then we go on the journey, because for many years they've worn so many different hats, right? They wore a hat in their professional world, and they've been maybe a mom, a dad, a sister, a brother, a caretaker maybe for their parents. And they've been a Mrs. or a Miss and a Mr., and then all of a sudden their spouse is gone, their partner is gone, so life changes. And it could change for you also in a way where it's a lifestyle change. So you have to just sit back and think about, okay, what do I want? How do I envision what I want out of life that's going to first fulfill me? And really, when you think about it, we're always doing things for other people. So when you get to a point in life that you can start doing something for yourself and really examine yourself, that's when you need to take the time and work on your inner self. And that's part of what I call the Be Yourself processes. Finding out who you are, what your likes are, what your dislikes are, and shedding those past relationship residuals, because you just want to get into a better position when you get out into the dating world, so that you're attracting somebody that you bring into your life that too has as little dysfunction as possible. And that's what the key thing is. And then we move on to the Love Yourself process, Thomas, which is really kind of neat too. So there's 3 processes that we go through.
So be yourself, be yourself. We've talked about loving yourself. Is that a transformation for most people? Do most people assume that they love themselves already, but maybe that's not quite the case?
Well, that's where that fraud factor comes in. We just self-sabotage ourselves, right? And how many times we get a compliment? Oh, I'm guilty of that too. When somebody says, I'm really, right? We downplay ourselves. And what we really need to do is focus on loving ourselves. And it's a lot easier said than done. And every day you wake up, you really need to be grateful for who you are and work on, just make sure that you're working on your inequalities. And I'm not talking about, when I say love yourself, that you have to be beautiful and handsome when you look in the mirror and kiss yourself and say, I love you. What I'm talking about is understanding that you have some fabulous qualities, that you are unique, you are a masterpiece. So you might have a personality that somebody gravitates towards you because they feel comfortable that they can share their innermost secrets. Or maybe you are the type of person that they like to be around you because you're always making them feel good, you make them feel happy. Maybe you're the type of person, that just is a good listener too. So those are qualities that when I talk about really loving yourself, love who you are. Everybody is unique, and find the things that are unique to you. And if you don't know, ask your friends and family. Say, hey, what do you like about me? You might find out what they don't like about you, but you'll find out what they like about you, right?
That's certainly true. Absolutely.
Yes, and it's a process, because when people get in the dating world, and you two haven't been in the dating world, but you get your rear end kicked out there, and you're going to come back, and you're going to have, sometimes people are going to say things that are just really not so nice, because some people don't have social filters, and that happens, and they all can't be, they all haven't taken my course. When they get through my course, they'll have a better social filter. However,
Very true.
But you have to be able to pick yourself up, because we can't allow words to mold who we are. We can't allow other people's opinions of us do that. Only people that are important.
Let's take a little detour in today's show. I want us to go into something that's maybe a little bit cringy, as they like to say in internet speak. Let's talk about some of the major faux pas that people are doing right now. These, crazy things that you see people doing that are just, that they ruin the experience for them dating. What are some of the things? Let's start out first with guys. What are some things that guys do that just destroy any possibility of finding a relationship for themselves?
Well, you know what the biggest turnoff for women is
What's
a
that?
man. The biggest turnoff for a woman, right, is when a man is not well groomed. Okay. And that is a faux pas. And what I mean by that is, first of all, is you go to meet somebody, let's say coffee, whatever it is, and maybe they've been hibernating for a while, right? Some of us have been hibernating. They haven't. Their beard is almost similar to Santa's beard. It's not.
Oh my God.
Oh, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. And you know what? Sometimes that beard becomes a napkin. People don't realize that because you have crumbs. So that's a faux pas.
Okay.
No, seriously. And
Sure.
then also and listen, you don't have to be GQ ready when you walk, but just take the time. If you're going to wear flip-flops, guys or girls, make sure your toes look clean. Okay, just little things like that. Make sure your fingernails are clean. Just make sure you popped a mint in your mouth. Brush your teeth, deodorant. And if you have a t-shirt, make sure it looks like it wasn't in the bottom half of your drawer crumbled up for the last week. That's little tiny things like that. And oh guys, listen to this carefully. Do not wear white socks with sandals. Please don't throw those white socks away.
Thank you. I hope this is broadcast all over the world just for that reason.
Now you have women. Okay, now women, we're also guilty too, is charged. What they shouldn't do is you show up for coffee and you're wearing a low cut, shirt. I mean, really, let's think about that.
To a nightclub instead
right,
of
you're going to a night, and you know what? Even on a first date, even if you're meeting for a drink, you know what? You can dress with a beautiful, sexy confidence, and you don't have to show anything. And we all know that there is nothing sexier sometimes when you're covered up and you have maybe beautiful red lips on, or your hair looks good. So you can have a confidence about you, and a beautiful, sexy, feminine confidence when you do. And the same thing for women. You'd be surprised.
And that is so true, Maria, about confidence being sexy, because it really is. So maybe when we come back, you can expand upon that.
Yeah, we got some. Yeah, I definitely want to hear some more about that, because I know we've got tons of cringy things that we can talk about that happen.
Hey, we're getting down to it now. I'm sure every listener's taking notes.
Yeah, this is this is the time.
And if you're not out there, you should be, right?
To do. Yeah. Sometimes the most fun is finding out what not to do. This is like watching, those disaster videos on YouTube when you see people showing up at Walmart at 3 a.m. dressed all crazy. So this is kind of the same advice for you if you're dating at this point. But we want to just let you know we're going to come back in just a couple of minutes with Maria Romano. She is a dating mentor and coach and a minister of love in Las Vegas. If you'd like to listen to some of our past episodes, go to the ImagineMoreSuccess.net website and check out some of our past episodes. If you want to learn a little bit about how you can increase your livelihood and make more money in your business, go to findhiddenmoney.com. Please stick around. We'll be back in just a moment.
watching the X Zone TV channel last night when I was abducted by aliens, and they kept repeating to me over and over again, simultv.com, simultv.com.
What's simultv.com?
That's what I asked them. They had it written on the side of their UFO.
How do you spell that?
UFO.
No, I mean simultv.com.
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 Right. simultv.com.
Interesting that you were abducted by aliens in a simultv.com UFO last night.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I remember now last night I was awakened from a deep sleep. My great-grandmother was standing there. She said she come from the hereafter to tell me about simultv.com. She even spelled it out for me.
simultv.com, sonny boy.
simultv.com.
simultv.com, sonny boy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Guys, you'll never guess what my psychic guru just told me.
simultv.com.
Exactly. Are you guys psychic too?
Of course.
We all know about simultv.com. simultv.com.
In the mid-1990s, I was approached by a young woman who believed she'd been abducted by alien creatures. In conversations, I began a journey that took me not into the world of interstellar travel, but back through time into past lives. Under hypnotic regression administered by a professional rather than describing abduction, Jenny, as she is called, begins to tell a tale of horror in 19th century London. Her unbelievable past life seems to connect with Jack the Ripper and other monsters of the past. Throughout the session, Jenny provides a rich detail of her past lives that links some of the most horrific killers in history to one another. Using the resources of a university library in the pre-internet day, I was able to verify some of Jenny's claims. She has knowledge that wasn't readily available to a suburban housewife. Does this prove the reality of her tales? Conversations attempts to answer that and other provocative questions. Conversations is available at Amazon.com.
Mission Evolution is dedicated to the well-being of the planet and animals, as well as the evolution of humankind. One major factor threatening all three is increasing toxicity. Heavy metals and other environmental toxins are poisoning our bodies, deteriorating our brains, blocking our spiritual connection, and shortening our lives. Yet these poisons are extremely difficult to remove. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka, and I recently became aware of a product created from the marriage of nature and nanotechnology called Vitality. It's formulated from zoolite, whose crystalline structure binds toxins, gently carrying them out of the body. The light is only as clear as the window through which it shines. Clear your body, shine your light into the world. Visit vitalityhappens.com for a 20% discount. Enter code PATHHOME.
Welcome back to the Imagine More Success Radio Show with Cindy and Thomas. We've been having a really fun time today speaking with Maria Romano. She is the coach for and mentor for people who are dating, especially if you're 40 plus. And she's also a wedding officiant in Las Vegas, Nevada. She's an ordained minister, and she actually presided over 3,000 wedding ceremonies, which is an amazing amount. So I was just at one yesterday. I mean, I was just blown away sitting there thinking yesterday, you've done 3,000 of these. It kind of blows my mind, especially in Las Vegas, where there's so many variables in weddings that I think have to be overcome so often in Las Vegas, that someone like you who is so professional has seen everything when it comes to that. Take a moment and tell us a little bit about a fun experience that you've had with marrying someone.
Oh, Thomas, yes, that's true. Actually, whenever to be part of somebody's wedding day is special, or even a vow renewal. And probably one of the best ones that I love sharing is the story about Vinny and Sarah. So Vinny and Sarah were a couple that got married on Valentine's Day. And I always change their names because it's been a while, but this couple came to me and they were so excited to get married. And he was standing by me, Vinny was, and his eyes were just twinkling. And Sandra came down the aisle, and she was in a scooter and he was in a walker. and she was a cougar. She was 92 and he was 87.
She's really robbing the cradle there.
Yeah, they had met 6 months earlier at an assisted living and couldn't wait to get married. So that one always sticks out in my mind, because when I have clients that come to me and say, well, I think I'm getting too old. Well, listen, if this couple found love, let me tell you, you can find love
too. That's so true. And I think that there's so many people who have so many feelings around why they can't, that has to be kind of the first hurdle that they have to overcome before they take the first step, is just changing the ideas from I can't find someone, or it's too hard, or it's just not going to happen, to, hey, the possibility exists. I mean, that shift has got to start before you can really get them to the next level quickly.
You know what? And you're right. You can lead a horse to water. You can't make him drink it. And that is so true, especially when it comes to somebody to take the initiative, to take action in their dating life. And it's just sometimes inaction seems like it's the complacent way to go, the easy way to go. But in actuality, we're all geared to have connection with people. And that's what's important. The healing of, the human connection, the book I speak about by Dr. Vivek K. Murphy, Together, we can heal each other. It is so true, because we do need to have human connection, and having a relationship. And the relationship, depending upon where you're at in life, you can have a fabulous relationship with somebody, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the sexual intimacy, but you have intimacy with each other, because that's what happens too as relationships evolve. Sometimes we get older, and sometimes the plumbing doesn't work, and sometimes we have an illness, that puts us in a situation. We're still intimate with our partners, and intimacy is so many different ways that you can definitely express your love for someone.
So Maria, how could someone work with you? Because it's very intimidating for some people, I think, to even think about working with a love coach. So what would you recommend?
Well, this is what I share with individuals when they ask me that. Well, first of all, if you were to go out and get an opinion from a doctor, if as far as if you needed to have something done, surgery, you would want to know that he didn't get his experience on YouTube. Or sometimes, and some people will say, well, I don't need a love coach. I can do it myself. That's true. You can do it yourself. It might take you a lot longer. You might have a lot more heartache. But if you can take the time to self-educate yourself, to get to that process a lot quicker by somebody that has gone through those experiences, because I've lived it, I've experienced it. So there isn't anything that I haven't experienced other than I'm a female versus a male. And I speak to so many people that can actually help you, because there are other coaches in the world that have never experienced what I've experienced. They're good coaches, but when you know that you have a commonality with the coach, makes a big difference as well. So I believe the self-education process to get through it quicker, because the most valuable commodity we all have is time, and we ain't getting that back. Okay, once it's gone, it's gone.
One thing you cannot get back. You're so right. And another thing that really jumps out to me as well is that idea that you need a coach. I mean, Michael Jordan had Phil Jackson. He had probably the greatest coach of all time. Michael Phelps has a swimming coach. Andrea Bocelli has a voice coach. Pavarotti had a voice coach. Everybody has to be coached. Everyone that does something at a high level often will search someone out to get the best coaching. I mean, if you take a look at the top tennis stars, they're all coached. And in fact, a lot of them go to the same guy. And I just feel like it's a really important step for people to realize that when you're doing something so important as trying to find a healthy relationship for yourself, especially after the age of 40, having a little bit of coaching probably goes a really long way.
Well, and the one thing that most people miss when they think about, well, why do I need a coach, is coaches, the good ones, will find your blind spots. And no one can find their own blind spots. That's why they're blind.
Right. Very true.
A good coach will tell you what you don't want to hear sometimes. Okay.
Exactly.
And that's the key thing. And, like you said, Thomas and Sydney, it's so true, because people will download, Google everything and find out. But when it comes to their love life, It's the most important, one of the most important things you're going to do in your life. You need to have a good dating coach that can give you an objective viewpoint and help you. And that's
and it will save you a lot of money if you choose wisely.
I want to tell a quick story here as well. I got called in. This was into a recording studio. This was about 4 years ago, and there was a performing artist who was recording this rap album, and he'd been having some problems. So the guy that ran the studio was a guy I had met recently. He said, "Oh, this guy has this vocal problem, and I can't get him to sound this certain way, and he really needs to sound like this for this album." And I said, "Okay." I was like, "I'll be down there in half an hour." I go to the recording studio. I walk in there. I look at the guy. I figure out, I know exactly what he needs to do differently. I make like a snap change, blah, blah, blah. The sound pops out just the way he wanted it. Everybody's happy, and I'm out the door. Here, and why is that? Because I had this level of experience that I could bring to the situation for him, but he was spending months spinning his wheels trying to get this one sound. We were able to get it together in 15 minutes. That's because it's a part of my area of expertise. But he could have saved himself 6 months if he had thought 6 months ago, hey, I need to find someone who's an expert and get it done today. How much farther down the road would he have been? And it's the same thing, I think, with this very same topic as well. And with most topics, quite honestly. But this one, the idea of finding someone that's important to you that you're going to bring into your life is much more important than people actually, I think, give it credit.
Well, and almost everybody says that they wish they would have found the coach or the help that they needed a lot sooner than they did. And especially for love, my goodness, that's one of the hardest things people have to find.
That's so true. It is. And again, people are getting used to now hearing about, and it's becoming more common to seek out a dating coach. What's interesting is they'll seek out a matchmaker before they will a dating coach. And not that, matchmakers are great in their own area. However, they cost quite a bit of money, and you're not always guaranteed a match.
And you don't learn as much.
Well, you don't. That's the key thing is you're somebody's doing the work for you. Mm-hmm. So somebody's you don't really put it. So you really need to be your own matchmaker, and you need to start really coming in touch with yourself. So when you're able to, find out who you are and then understand what you want by just being your own matchmaker, you're going to attract that right person for you. And it's like Tommy said, it's one little shift, one little adjustment. And sometimes that's all it is. And that's like that light bulb moment.
Yes. Well, before we run out of time, Maria, I would love for you to share that special gift that you have for our listeners today.
Oh, and first of all, thank you both for having me on the show. And
of course,
I love visiting with the two of you. You're both delightful.
Oh.
And yes, and for your thank you, and for your listeners, if those of you out there, I'd like to offer you a free assessment, a free profile assessment. If you have a profile online, or if you're just getting ready to launch it, I would like to be able to take a quick look at it, because maybe that little tweaker and adjustment is going to make all the difference in the world. So reach out to me, Maria at trueloveknots.com, and I would love to hear from you. And just mention that you are on the show, Imagine More Success, and I will be more than happy to set up a time to chat with you.
Well, there you have it. A great opportunity.
It really is. It's a really cool opportunity. Check out your possibilities in having your profile assessed by Maria. Send her an email, Maria at trueloveknots.com. That's trueloveknots, KNOTS.com. Maria, thank you again for joining us today. We want to thank you so much for tuning in today and listening to the Imagine More Success radio show. If you'd like to hear some past episodes, go to imaginemoresuccess.net, where we've got tremendous episodes with business gurus and experts who will help you to gain the success that you want. If you want to learn how to make more money in your business, go to findhiddenmoney.com, where you can find some amazing courses created by Cindy and me. And we want to thank you again for joining us and hope you have an amazing week. And as always, we want to remind you to realize your dreams and to imagine more success.